Are you having difficulty in learning English language? Why is learning English so important to you? Do you want to know an easy way to learn the language? I don't think you even understood all what I said. Join us on Chataway Live with Mohammed Al Jahwari. Mind your language this Saturday on 2nd of October at 8:30 p.m. Oman time.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to read.
Read what?
A book. This is in English. I don't
So
quite
read
understand.
it. What seems to be the problem?
Because it's in English. I don't
So
understand English.
why?
I don't know. I don't quite understand English.
You went to school for 12 years and you learned English. How come you can't read English?
Nobody taught me the right way, man. We just had
What?
to
No,
study.
nobody taught you?
We just
So
had to
so you never.
study. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I don't understand what you're saying right now. What are you saying?
Well, if nobody taught you the right way to learn English, I just know the right person to teach you how to read English. Follow me.
Please, I beg you. I beg you. Yes, yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. How are you, Ali?
I'm good. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to everybody in Chataway Ummati Station, and welcome to Hatim back in Oman after being in where?
Yes.
Burundi?
I was in the jungles of Burundi.
Man, maybe we should have a special episode just about that.
Yeah, I can tell you all about it. The most important thing, alaikum salam. The most important thing in Burundi, Ali, the temperature was 10 degrees when we are in the mountains. So you can imagine how pleasant it was.
10 degrees.
But nevertheless, we're not talking about Burundi today. What do we have? What do we have today?
Today, man, we have a very, very special guest. Ta-da!
MashaAllah.
Mohammed Al
alaikum.
Jahwari.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Sheikh Hatim, Mr. Ali. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for the chance to be on the show. And I have to praise everything you've been doing for almost a year now, I guess. So wonderful channel.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah alaikum, mashallah. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Muhammad. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. It's been a long time. Me and Ali have been discussing to have you on the show, and finally we got you on the show, alhamdulillah. But nevertheless, I think we need to introduce you to the public. Ali is going to introduce you, inshallah, properly.
Let's do that. Mohammed Al Jahwari is an English language teacher who's been teaching the English language for 10 years. MashaAllah. He's currently the head of English department in Sohar University of Technology and Applied Sciences. His mission is to bring about a change in the way people learn languages through sharing his personal experience as well as a bunch of unconventional / crazy. That word, crazy. That's me, man. Unconventional, crazy classroom teaching methods that are both challenging and fun. Did I say that right?
Yep, exactly. And we do actually share that craziness part in our personalities, I think. And it makes people attracted to maybe content.
Muhammad, I think the first thing people would think when they see the three of us on this show, that the three of us went to private schools. That's why we're able to speak or have a command of the English language. But I think today we're going to prove them wrong, because the three of us, I think, we went to public schools and we went through the same syllabus that everybody else in Oman went through. But what happened? How did we end up being fluent in the language?
Wa alaikum salam for
alaikum salam.
Humanity from Florida.
Great. Yeah. Personally, I was very poor to go to a private school. I grew up. I wouldn't say poor, but yeah. But we didn't. I don't think we could have afforded to go to a private school. And I
Yeah.
think back in, I don't think there were that many private schools to go to anyway. So back in the 80s
Yeah.
and 90s. So yeah, we had to do what we had to do. And listening to you guys, that's what I would think. Also, that maybe you receive some sort of special kind of education. And this is one of the most questions that I get most of the times when people hear me speak in any event, like, which school did you go to? Where did you study? And I keep telling them it has nothing to do with the school you went to. It has nothing to do with how much education you had
Yeah.
abroad. Because I met people in Australia who had spent there. I remember back in 2009, I met people who were there 5 years before me, but they still hadn't acquired the language the way I did. And their language proficiency was weak, to say the least. And it really led me to thinking, what is going on here? It cannot just be living in a country abroad that it cannot that cannot be the only factor that plays or comes into play when it comes to speaking or mastering a language. So,
Right.
and here we are here today to talk about that, inshallah.
So, Muhammad, basically, when you were in school, high school, did you have the command of the language, or after you graduated from high school and then you started the
What
journey?
Well, it did actually start in grade 11, and it happened completely by accident. The school was looking for a teacher to actually cover to teach a few classes, and they couldn't find an Omani back then. And they ended up hiring a teacher from India, whose English
Yes.
was whose English was not better than anybody else, but it was okay, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yes.
But to that person, I attribute a great deal of my success, because we were all of a sudden put in a situation where we could only communicate with this person in front of us in the second languages. We had absolutely no choice. He obviously had absolutely no choice because he was fresh off the boat. It was his first time in Oman. And we ended up talking English in Tabur, just in the area outside in the class. And for the first time in my life, I thought, okay, this is interesting. Uh, Maybe this is, for some reason, I found that interesting, even though it was challenging. We've never actually done it. We've never like used English to communicate. We normally used it for, answering questions in tests and exams, and that's it. That's pretty much it. We wouldn't use a single word of English outside the class. But that was the first time when I felt like maybe this is something that I need to work on, because now I have a reason to do it.
So is that your real inspiration to learn the language,
One
or?
of my first, I would say, one of my first inspirations to learn the language. And he obviously loved it, to see that sort of motivation from my side to communicate with him. And he didn't get that attention from a lot of people in the school, because you know what it's like sometimes when you see somebody who doesn't speak English. He didn't have many friends either. So immediately he started calling me one of the best students he's ever taught, and that kind of stuff. And I needed that.
It made
I needed
it
to
made
hear
you feel
that.
good.
It made me feel good. So
Yeah.
every single day I would go over to him and just spend a few minutes speaking about things that were boring, just for the sake of it, just for the sake of speaking. But then the story continued after that, after I graduated high school. But then my journey took, a different turn, which also helped me basically take my English to a different level, a whole different level.
There is a stigma, Muhammad, in the society when you speak English in public. So you might find a few of your friends saying, "Oh, Aib, why
I know.
why you speaking in English, and
يتفشر, show
why you
off, show off.
communicating? Yeah, you are show
I
off. Why you communicating in English? You're changing your culture and this and that." So
sure.
I'm sure maybe in your journey when you started learning the language, people
Yes.
who are around you, your friends, your family, thought this
No,
is a very crazy idea. You know, why are you learning this language and why are you
I know.
communicating in this language?
And you will get that actually from uh, people you never expect. I was attending a conference back in 2000, if I could remember correctly, 6, and I was giving a presentation in SQU, and this conference was an English language teaching conference. So you would
Yes.
assume everybody who attended that conference was either interested in teaching the language or already teaching the language or doing research in the language. And I remember I gave a presentation astaghfirullah, I wasn't giving a presentation. Somebody else, one of my friends, was giving a presentation. So I was in the stage, and then I had a comment to say, to give towards the end of that presentation. So I started. I can't remember the comment exactly, but anyways, I said something, and there's another person out of nowhere. He turned to me and said, "You're promoting imperialism or something. It's like this is colonialism, and this is." And I'm looking at him, but you're here attending an English language teaching conference. So I'm like, what are we all doing here? So I got that comment from an English teacher or a researcher or both, who was actually against us using English where he thought we didn't need. So and these days I get it also on social media, on my social account, and I received a phone call one time saying, so somebody went through the trouble of getting my number through WhatsApp groups. It took her about I think a couple of weeks to find my number. She said, "Look, what you're doing is wrong. You're trying to motivate people, and you should be doing it in Arabic. This is not right, and this is." And I'm like, okay, yes, I totally agree with you that maybe Arabic sometimes is a better way to reach the hearts of Arab-speaking people, but it doesn't mean that I should also stop, delivering the same message in multiple languages. So, say, for example, I spoke 5 languages. Do I just focus on Arabic, and like deliver that message to Arab-speaking people only, or okay, what am I supposed to do with the other 4 languages? If you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
again, there is, like you said, Sheikh Hatem, there is that stigma that you're using this as a way to,
Me and Ali
know,
were getting this all the time since the day we started
yeah,
in the media, all the time. Why don't you guys speak in Arabic? Why don't you guys speak in Arabic? Although
yeah,
in our private lives, like for me personally, I never speak in English at all. Even to my kids, even at home, I don't speak in English. I only speak in Arabic
Yeah,
because I'm
mashallah,
proud of my language. I only use
definitely.
English when I need it for business, for media,
mm,
and so on. I am
mm,
promoting the Arabic language, but I am specializing in programs that are focused to those who are non-Arab speaking audiences.
Yes.
yes,
So literally, I would be speaking in English because my focus, my audience, are this category of people.
I
So I
know,
think
yeah,
even if you go back at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet said, "Man ta'allama lughata qawmin amina sharruhum." Whoever learns the language of a nation, he will be
mm,
safe from their harm. And he
mm,
also sent the companions to learn foreign language like Persians and Roman and other languages.
mm,
So it's
mm,
good to learn a foreign language, but of course, don't forget your identity. Don't forget where you're coming from,
sure,
and
sure.
um, you move on. You move on. But
I know, I
I
know.
have a question, Mustad
Sure,
Muhammad.
sure. Mm,
It's not very common for an Omani young man to graduate from high school and then to want to become an English teacher or to be specialized in the English language.
yeah,
The majority of the people, when you ask them in Oman,
mm,
students, they'd say
mm,
pilot, doctor,
mm,
engineer, lawyer, you know,
mm.
or a teacher, but not an English teacher. What made you become an English teacher?
It's a very good question, Mr. Hatem, and there, uh, to my knowledge, it's a combination of fate, qadar كذا, and also
Yeah.
a choice. Back in 2003, we didn't have that many choices. If I could go back in time, we didn't have قبول موحد where you list 15 different objects, 15 different
Yes.
subjects that you need to study like in your postgraduate or undergraduate. We didn't have that many. So it was, for me, it was a challenge. Actually, it wasn't my first choice. My first choice was to study engineering. And until this day, I still cannot remember why. Maybe because it was it was more
You
fancy
you you
or
you,
something.
you are Omani. You are Omani.
I know.
You want to
Yes. It was, yeah, it was either a doctor or an engineer, and then everything else fell under that. So so my second choice was I said to myself, if I can't be an engineer, which I couldn't, by the way, I missed my goal by 2 marks. There was no time for despair
Yeah.
and negativity, and I had to go for my second choice, which was becoming a teacher. And this is when I had a dilemma, what kind of a teacher I wanted. And for me, it took me literally hours to decide that I was going to be an English teacher, because that was the only subject that I enjoyed learning in high school. I said, okay, if I'm going to be stuck in a job for the next 20 years or something, it better be funny. Sorry, not funny, but it better be like fun. That's what I meant.
Fun, yeah.
So my choice was quick. I was going to be an English teacher, enjoy it for as long as it lasted before I move on to my next thing. So it was, and even though that I was convinced that this was what I was going to do for the next 5 years in college and probably the next 20 years in the job market, my heart went back to engineering during my foundation year of studying English. And I struggled. I really struggled to finish that foundation. I barely passed, to tell you the truth. And this is one of the things that I don't talk about a lot. But I barely passed my foundation. And then when, I don't know why, but my mind went somewhere else. And then after foundation, after I started like digging deeper and studying more focused English courses in linguistics and psycholinguistics and sociolinguistics and all those different subjects, this is when I realized that it wasn't only about speaking the language, but actually it was much more like understanding, being exposed to everything related to the language and society and psychology and everything. Now you're able to better communicate. So first, to better understand what uh, how other people think, and also communicate with them in a way that they relate to you. So it wasn't about mastering the language on its own, but it was much, much more than that. And that got me really, really interested. And I couldn't wait to finish that semester, go on to the next one, just to study more and more. It didn't happen very naturally or very quickly. It took a whole year for me to convince myself that this was what I was going to do and finish. And here I am, 16, 17 years through into that journey, and I'm still loving it until this moment. So yeah.
We have a comment by Hassan Ras. We say it is a challenge in university with poor English. We force all students to learn in English, but yet most sciences, business, and where did it go?
It is still there.
Yeah, business. And when we are abroad, English is the language. What do you think?
If I could understand, let me just read that very quickly. I don't want to
Yeah.
assume something here. It's a challenge in university with, okay, with poor English. We force students to learn in English, but yet most sciences, business, and we are abroad. So English is the language. I think what he meant.
I think he means in school that everything is in Arabic, and then suddenly you move on to university and everything is in English.
You're faced by English language, and that's the only choice you have.
Yeah, it is. It is a challenge, to be honest. And this is one of the things that I face every single day in my career. Like, we have all these students who are used to learning mathematics, for example, or whatever the subject, physics and biology, and all of a sudden they have to study all of that in a second language. So it poses a challenge, at least for the initial stages, for the first 1, 2, sometimes up to 3 years. So I'm not going to deny that we see that challenge happening. And to tell you the truth, for example, at the university level, we teach. I'll give you one real example. We teach a mathematics class that is the equivalent of a grade 10 in high school. We teach it in foundation, and students struggle with it, sometimes even fail in it, just because it's delivered in the second language. Yes. So they have to understand takamul, tafadul, and everything they already did in grade
They
10.
already
but
know it
They already know it.
in Arabic. Yeah.
If you ask most of our students, what does subtraction mean, or multiplication mean, they would struggle to understand it. They might have, like, they might look at their notebook and they understand the signs and the symbols and everything,
They won't know
but
the name.
don't talk to them about it, because this is when the confusion happens. Now there is a move, luckily, at a university level, and it's happening right now as we speak, to translate some of those curriculums into Arabic. So at least at the starting stages, so students can at least cope at the beginning, and then they make that gradual shift to learning those subjects in the second language. So it's going to take a while. However, I think the major shift and the major change that should happen is in schools, in the school system.
Ustad Muhammad, there's something that I don't understand. What you said made sense, is when you have the sciences in Arabic and then when you switch to university, then in English, and then you struggle. Okay. But what I fail to understand is that for 12 years, you study the language, how to communicate, listening, writing, and reading, and so on. And then you go to university, it is the same. You have listening, writing, and reading, the same, but you still struggle. So is the education system not preparing the student for university level, or the students themselves, they are not trying hard enough to cope in university? Because everything they were taught in like what happened to us. We went to government school. The syllabus was very clear for 12 years. When we went to university, yes, we struggled a little bit, but it wasn't like rocket science, because the basics are there. How to write, how to read, how to listen, how to make words, how to find out about vocabularies. They're very clear. Maybe in science and math, I will struggle.
Hatim,
But in the language,
I think
yes.
what you're saying, did you study English before the exam? Did you actually read and memorized and all that for the test? Or
No.
you just attended the test? Exactly. So this is something which I don't even understand. Why we have other people who memorize the whole thing, the writing and everything, and then when they go and do the test, they don't make it. And I think you and me had the same issue. We didn't have to study. And let me be honest with you. I didn't speak English well during school time, but I used to get high marks in English, even though I didn't speak it well. When did I learn how to speak? I think that was when I actually joined after I finished the college and I started the job. That's with the interaction that I had with people. That's when I learned the language. But now back to your question, why people don't make it? They graduate from the secondary, from the school. Why they don't speak the language? Why do we have people in the university attending? They don't speak a word in English, and they have to start from A, B, C, D. Sorry about that, but yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Before you answer that, Ustad Muhammad, the reason why I'm asking this question, I met Omani students who are degree holders, like in Arabic language or Sharia or any of the Arabic sciences. They don't speak a single word of English, and then they went to the UK or the United States or Australia to do masters or PhD. So they had 3 months intensive English course, and they were able to pass their masters and PhD in English, which they didn't speak a word. While students who are in school studying English for 12 years, and then they go to university, they cannot even pass foundation. So there must be something wrong somewhere in this equation.
Well, I totally agree with both of you. There is a problem, and it's more obvious these days than it used to be. I think one of the main issues with our schooling system is that we study for the test. Now, imagine, like, it's not only happening with English, by the way, it's happening with every single subject that the students are studying. Students study English in the same way they study physics or mathematics. They study all the rules, they study all the qawa'id and everything, and they can work out all these problems. The moment they step outside the classroom, they cannot actually use that to solve any, to imagine. They look at a bridge. They look at a bridge and they cannot understand why this bridge is curved the way it is. They look at a certain building designed in a way and they cannot explain using their physics knowledge, which is really, really advanced in grade 12, why the building is designed in a certain way. And it's the same thing with English, because we teach students we lay the curriculum
To
out
memorize.
in a way, yes, to memorize facts,
Yes.
be able to work out problems, but never actually relate them to real life problems and real life situations. And it's the same thing is happening with English. We teach them. Even with this course, I designed a course and I posted it online. One of the frequent questions that I get: can this course help grade 11 students? And can this course help طلاب الحلقة الثانية, so grade, I don't know, 4 or 5 students? So everybody wants something to help students prepare better for that exit exam or end of the year exam. And this hasn't worked for so many years, and it's never going to work, because exam is all about skills. Like, it doesn't give you the motivation to study and to improve. It gives you the motivation to get marks and to answer certain questions. Students don't necessarily master the way they cannot use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous when they speak, or they can't properly use the past. But give them a piece of paper, put it in front of them, give them all these sentences and exercises, and I guarantee they're going to get 100%. But they will never be able to actually use that in their daily conversations. And there is a reason. It's 12 years of testing and memorization. That's one of the reasons. It's the way curriculums are designed. Another reason is very simple, and it's how languages are actually learned. And if we want to understand how languages are learned, we should look at how kids pick up language. Now, kids pick up language not because they're smarter than adults. No, they have one main advantage over adults, and that is time. The time we expose our children to language is massive compared to adults. They listen to the language and they use the language every single day from the day they were born until they're 3. And you don't hear them say much, by the way. And then one day at the end of their second year, they start saying words. One more year, they start saying sentences. And then by the age of 4,
Yes.
you hear them starting to conjugate and to use complicated sentence to the point that they surprise you. I didn't teach him that. I didn't teach him
Yeah.
this. I know I didn't teach him this. Where did
True.
he get it from? Where did she get it from? They've been absorbing the language for 4 years, and this is the result. Now, in school, we teach. This is the only difference, because we teach them for maximum 35 minutes a day, something for the test. They never get to use, actually. And even in that class, 35 minutes, like, if you have 2 kids at home, you're trying to teach the language, you're trying to speak to, the amount of attention you give them is hours every single day. In school, you have 35 students in the class. The amount of attention each student gets is an average of no more than 20 seconds. No more than 20 seconds in a single class.
Ustad Muhammad, there is another advantage that the kids have above adults. They're not afraid to make mistakes.
Thank you so much. Yes. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
They just go, the past tense is in the present, and they just come up with sentence. They're not afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly.
But for us, we're worried what people will think about us when we say something wrong.
we actually praise kids for making mistakes, and we encourage them. We correct their mistakes 1,000 times, no problems. Don't see it this way, say it that way. And we praise them for trying. Unfortunately, we don't get this in school. It's like mainly because we don't have time, or maybe because teachers aren't aware of the effect that has on the students. And when was the last time we heard of somebody making a terrible mistake and got praise for it? No, we said, come on, I've been teaching you for 7 years now. You're still making the same mistake. What
They
is
will make
wrong
a
with you?
they,
They're
they will
waiting
make
for the
a hash
mistakes.
they will make a hashtag for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. They will ignore all the good things, the right things you've said, but they'll pick
Yeah.
up that mistake and say, "No, you made that mistake." I like what you said about children. You know, they gather all the information. I don't know how they make the calculations up there, and then they come up with a sentence. And this is amazing because I have a 2-year-old daughter, Mariam, and sometimes she just surprises me with sentences. It's like she says the whole sentence. Where did she pick that up from? I have no idea. So I think that calculation happens actually in the head, and then poof, she just shoots it out. Maybe with a few mistakes, but then you get it corrected.
It's all that exposure for years. They're listening, but they're absorbing the language, the rules. I think there are many theories that I read about back in college, when it's like what's it called again? Molds مثل القطع كذا. So the children, when they listen to the language, they place certain words before others. They don't necessarily use them then, but they know the structure. They know what to put first, what to put second. And by the age of 4, they've mastered grammar. They can't explain it, but in their mind, they've already mastered it. So it's just a matter of learning more words to fit in those places before they become fluent. And
Ustad
unfortunately,
Mohammed,
as students, we don't get that chance to listen to that much language to form those things in our.
Ustad Mohammed, how was your first day as a lecturer teaching in the university? I'm sure students, when you entered the class and started speaking in English, they were expecting you to also translate in Arabic what you're saying.
I didn't. Yeah, I tried not to, because I think part of me wanted to show them it's possible. And I love the reaction that I see on their faces, because I normally I have like a ritual. I walk into the class, I started like cleaning the whiteboard, and talking to everybody in Arabic, and like welcoming them into the class. كيف الحال طيبين كيف الصحة كيف كانت الإجازة معاكم وكذا.
So that happens in Arabic. Okay.
That happens
in Arabic.
It happens in Arabic, and when everybody gets into the class, like 25 students or something, I go around the desk. Say, all right, so everybody, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the class. And this is when everybody was like, what's going on here? So I love the reaction, but also I said, look, like I come from the same places that you come from, and I've been to I went to the same schools. I have an experience in doing this, and I'm ready to take you on a journey, the same journey that I went through, to get to this level, and inshallah even better. And that opens up, opens their eyes to all the different possibilities. Like I tell them about my stories and experiences, my mistakes, and how much time I wasted, and how much money I paid, and that sort of stuff. And then I tell them that I guarantee, if you just listen to the things that I say, you're going to be a lot better, because you're learning these things at a much earlier stage than I am. So you have the advantage of having time over me, because I've learned certain things a bit, I wouldn't say late, but a bit later in life. So I'm going to be willing to give you all these things right at the front, to cut your journey short, and to make it more fulfilling and more basically exciting.
So Muhammad, how are you doing it differently then?
It's crazy. I push students to their limits. Like I try to get the best out of them as much as I can, and I'm always on YouTube trying to find ways to motivate students to use. Like I try to deviate a bit from, not a bit, but a lot from the curriculum that I'm like we have goals to achieve in every single class. Obviously, we have a curriculum, and unfortunately, we still have to teach to the test. Sometimes there are certain things that they have to master before week 14 in order for them to pass that final exam. However, I try to do it in a fun way, in a way that's going to help them see quick progress in the way they communicate. And this is when it becomes really challenging. You have a certain objective to teach present perfect continuous, or how to teach them to do research, for example, and you want to do it in a way that is fun, and that in a way that helps them forget about the curriculum, forget about the boring experience that they've had for 12 years. And this is where I do my best to be creative in the way I teach. So for one of the examples, for I can easily do it like many teachers do it, and say, for example, okay, here is today we're going to study how to ask questions, how to formulate questions, WH questions, who, when, where, and so on.
Why?
And why. Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Hatim. You've been there. So I can easily do it in the boring way and say, okay, here's a handout, and you will see a couple of examples at the beginning, and then there are 10 sentences right under that where you have to work with a friend or with a classmate to basically fill in the blanks. I can easily do it this way, being lazy basically. But I push them out of their comfort zone, and this is what I do. I say, okay, look, now we have something called technology, and we have mobile phones.
Mobile.
Yes. So here is what I would like you to do. I would like you to interview a minimum of 5 people within the next 1 hour here on college campus. Record yourself asking them questions, and they are answering those questions. Edit 5 very short. Your video shouldn't be longer than a minute. Edit those 5 interviews into a 1-minute long video. Come back with your mobile device, an edited video, and we're going to show it on the screen. So off you go. And here's what happens. Nobody moves from their chairs. So everybody's like, are you serious? You're sending us
What is
out
he talking
the
about?
classroom? What happened to the whiteboard? What happened to us sitting here for the next 2 hours? No, not in my class. I'll see you in 1 hour. I'll be in my office. I'll be back in 1 hour, maximum 1 hour and 20 minutes. And I literally leave the class. Now, and I launch them out, and this is when because you really have to step out of the class in order for them to believe that this is actually happening. So they go outside. This is when they actually have to move. And I try to get them to do it in groups to make the task a little bit easier. And what they've done was incredible. Like, I will never forget one time they went and interviewed cleaners from India, from Bangladesh, on college campus. Some of them interviewed 5, other interviewed 6. So and I gave him examples of some of the questions they could ask. So, for example, why are you working here? Just because I had something in my mind. I wanted those videos not only to focus on grammar, but to link them to life experiences. So I gave him some examples,
Yes.
like, okay, how long have you been working for here? What do you miss the most? Like, do you like? Is there something you wish could happen today? And I designed those questions in a way, thinking in my mind, those videos are going to be great. They came back. They came back after 1 hour and 20 minutes. Some of them took longer. And the videos we showed on the screen, we played on the screen, I had tears in my eyes because some of them were really. I remember one cleaner was like, I miss home. And he said it in broken English, obviously. But he said, I miss home. I've been here for, I don't know, was it 5-6 years or something? I miss my family. And the answer to where would you want to be, for example, is home right now with my family. So, and everybody was glued to the screen. And not only that, one of the students, because I demanded minimum 5, one of the students was struggling with one last clip, maybe 10 seconds. And she sent the question to her brother on WhatsApp, and she asked him to video himself answering the question. And this is going to blow your mind because he sent back a video with him on a boat fishing in the middle of the sea. And he said,
MashaAllah.
here's, yeah, in the middle of a sea. She edited that into the, imagine, she edited that into the video, like with all the
Amazing.
other small clips. And we played them, and it took us by surprise because I didn't know what it was, what I was going to see, just like everybody else. I was like, well, literally, the boat was sailing through, like literally flying into, and I was actually blown away. Imagine. So this is one example out of the many things that I do with my students sometimes, and without them realizing, they were literally learning how to use WH words and questions. So,
MashaAllah.
so
MashaAllah.
why go? If you ask me, why go through all this to
Yes.
teach that? Is I've come to realize after 10 years of teaching that teaching language is not only about language, but you can actually use whatever time you have with the students to teach them about life while also teaching the most boring grammar rules on the planet. So, and I'm trying to do both now, and I think I've been successful in many cases.
I think you should be proud of the ideas that you have brought and yourself. I
Thank
think
you.
that will happen and it will make a big change in the community. Let us take a few comments from our viewers.
Ali, there's an interesting comment by Hassan Rasbi. Can you put that comment, please, first?
Which one is it? Because we got a few
Germans,
here.
Germany, they study in German and so on.
Okay,
And this is something very interesting.
so
It is.
we'll just do a few comment answering. We'll respond to some comments, starting by Hassan. German
Yes, it
study
says
in German. Go ahead.
French study in French, Italian study in Italian. Why don't we study in Arabic in university and then study English the right way? Will that be better? It means throughout university we study in Arabic, but we study English as a language. That's basically like in Iraq and Egypt, they study in Arabic university. Medical school, they study in Arabic. So what's the problem? Why don't we study in Arabic? What do you
There,
think, Sir Muhammad?
there is one issue. I totally agree with the fact that we should, at one point in our life, switch to teaching whatever subject, whatever science in our native language, because it's gonna help. Actually, I totally agree with the Hassan Rasbi there. Brilliant idea. It's going to help our like. It's much. First of all, it's much easier. It's quicker, obviously,
Yes.
and like I see a lot of my students, for example, struggle to learn really, really basic things in physics, in biology, in whatever engineering, for example, or IT. And I'm thinking if those were introduced to them in Arabic, it would take them probably one third of, like a fraction of the time. However, there is a prerequisite to doing this. We cannot just switch and say, okay, let's learn everything in Arabic. I think this is one of the sad things about our culture. We're not fast enough. It's just a fact. When in Germany, for example, they study in German, all the technology is moving as fast as all the books are being translated. They don't even have to be translated. They're inventing the technology, they're developing the technology, and at the same time, they're teaching whatever they're inventing and they're developing.
And the technology is in
yes.
German, not
In
in
German.
English.
Exactly. The technology is in German. The same is happening, obviously, in the US and in France,
Japan, China, yeah.
China.
Japan,
They don't
yeah.
need to import.
The English language.
Yeah, they don't need English.
Yes.
Whereas in our society, especially here in the Gulf and most of the third world, even though I hate that word or that expression, third world countries, we are not very, very fast when it comes to seeing advancements in those technologies. So by the time, I know this is happening in China, for example, this is insane. And I've heard this from one of the scholars here in Oman. He said, do you know what China is doing these days? I said, no. He said, look, China is working on a plan, for example. these days to translate every single textbook in English. And they're doing it really, really fast. So one day they are not going to need English at all, because they would
True.
import every single piece of technology, every single piece of wisdom, knowledge into Chinese. And he said, I will remind you in a few years that you will be searching things in Google in Chinese. And I was blown away by this fact.
SubhanAllah.
And apparently, uh, uh, like most of the Western world is working on a very similar plan. Translate everything, like everything you don't have, into the native language and teach it as quickly as possible. So one day you're not going to need to speak other languages. And this is one way of spreading their own culture and their own language. We are in the Arab world, unfortunately, not fast enough. And even if we decide that one day we're going to switch to Arabic, I have books here. I have books in my bookshelf right behind me that were written in the 20s of the previous century. I There's one book by Napoleon Hill. I've been for over 2 months now. I've been looking for a translation in Arabic and I couldn't find it. The
Think
only
and Grow
way for
Rich.
me, yeah, Think and Grow Rich has been already translated, but this one is Success Low. I don't know if it's. I looked in Jarir. I looked in many other publishers
Bookshop.
and bookshops, and it's nowhere to be found. I looked online. I'm ready to pay $50 for it, no problems, and I can't find it anywhere. And this book has been written 100 years back.
Wow.
You know
If
what? You
I
know what's
decide
fun?
today to wait and say, okay, no, this has to be taught in Arabic, unfortunately, there is a lot that
Yeah.
we're going to be missing on.
You know what's sad, and Mr. Muhammad, is that it used to be that everybody wants to learn Arabic, and they used to take the sciences in Arabic in Baghdad. People from the Western world, from the aristocratic community, they used to be proud to speak Arabic and learn in the Arabic sciences. So we actually were there, but we
Exactly.
let go of that and we became followers. So it's going to take us a very long time to go back and be ahead of the race. And until then, we'll stick to English, I think, because we haven't been doing our homework.
Having said that, I think it's an advantage for us to know more than a language. You know, for the countries that depend on their language, yes, of course, they have their own advantage of having everything in their language, but then that's it. You're not open to, learning more. The more you learn languages, and I think if you speak 2-3 languages, that means you can learn more and more languages because you're already open to that. And it's not too late to say, no, because I'm not a child anymore, I'm not going to learn it. I think somehow there is an advantage and disadvantage. So it's not something we can say.
I have friends who speak almost 10 languages now in Oman, who are Omani, who started their learning journey literally 5 years ago. I know a person, Osam Leblouchi, for example. I always mention him in my meetings, in my interviews. This guy spoke 2 languages, or maybe 3. I think it was Urdu also, when he was just 18. Now he speaks 9-10 languages, and he's only 25, I think now, 26 maybe. So he did it in just like Mr. Ali just said. Like by the time I think you learn your 3rd or 4th language, khalas, you already have a system in place. It's a momentum thing. So it's going to happen.
Ali, I think we already have our guest for next week.
You just took it from me, man. It was in my mind. Does he speak English, by the way?
Yeah, he does.
I'll be surprised if he won't.
If he's listening to us, then we'll be honored to have him on the show next week.
Next week, you're there. Please call him.
Mashallah. I know he works in tourism, for example. I know him personally. A very close friend of mine. He works in tourism. I know tourists, they're fighting for him. Tourist companies are fighting for him because they normally put up to 3 tourist guides on a bus. with 50 tourists going to all different
They only
places in
need him.
Sharqiyya. They
We
only
need
need
him.
one. They only need one now.
MashaAllah.
So yeah, his rate is really expensive. I know that for a fact.
MashaAllah.
I hope he
Mashallah.
doesn't charge us to interview him.
Well, we can do it. Like we can manage a deal with him. Yeah, I only take 20% of whatever he asks for.
All right. So I just wanted to put you into attention that our show is also goes live in New Zealand, not just in Oman. And we have a Voice of Islam here. Alhamdulillah, happy to see you guys. Yes, happy to see you too there.
Alhamdulillah.
So you are being watched even in New Zealand and I think around the world as well. And we will take a few comments, Hatim, if because we got many of them here. It's really early here in New Zealand. Okay, so we got from New Zealand, and then we have, I think there's like conversation between each other. Somebody is also watching from Bangladesh. So we have somebody from Bangladesh as well.
Okay.
And we have a question by Red Series, I think. What about the older the kids are? Is it too late or too difficult for kids like 15 to 17 years old, I think, to learn the language?
Yeah, it's not old, but there is a compromise there. Like I said in my previous comment, it's the amount of exposure that you can get to a 17-year-old. Unfortunately, 17-year-olds are busy, distracted by all these different things, so they don't get the same attention a child would get when it comes to language learning.
Yes.
So if you manage, like a child is learning the language 8-9 hours every single day, maybe even more. If you can get to that level, and I've asked Isam in my like, how do you do it? How do you do it? How have you learned? Like, how do you learn languages so quickly? And his answer was it's the same. He said, I spend a minimum of 6 to 8 hours with the language every single day. So he sort of recreated that childhood scenario to help him learn the language very quickly, and that's why it doesn't take him longer than a year to pick up a language, sometimes even shorter. So if you can redesign an environment where you're exposed to the language at 17 years or 18 or 20 or 25, where you're exposed to the language, كده تتعرض للغة for 5, 6, 7 hours every single day in the car, before you go to bed, reading books, maybe listening to something like podcasts and everything.
Listen to Chat Away every Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Oman time.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
You'll learn English.
That's 1 hour out of the 7 they need to spend.
You got 6 hours left.
Okay, Ustad Muhammad, you have come up with a very important initiatives, which is Coursati, which is a platform to learn the language.
Yes.
Why did you go through the trouble to do this initiative? It's a lot of hard work you did.
Yeah.
So, tell us about it. What is it?
It's a website where, you see, it all started with when I put myself on social media, and I was creating, I remember, just a few motivational videos. They were not about language learning. They were just random motivational messages. And this is when people started commenting like, I need what you have, and which is being able to speak this fluently. And even though I am not still at the level where I want to be, still, like, my journey is very long, I decided, like, at the beginning, I didn't pay close attention because I was more focused on the motivational stuff. But then one comment after another, 10, 20, 100, each single one of them were asking about, okay, how can I improve my English? This is when I decided, okay, it's a problem that needs to be solved. So instead of going through each comment and replying to because we as people are individual and very special in our needs. So you, Hatim, might need work on pronunciation. Mr. Ali might need work on grammar, for example. Somebody might want the accent part. They don't want to be fluent, but they want to speak like, just like Ali.
Like the movies.
Like the movies. Somebody wants something else. So it was very demanding to actually go through these comments and just answer them fully. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to answer all those questions in a course where I just answer all those questions. And the only way for me to do it, to make this possible, was for me to shoot videos answering those questions. And I honestly started by thinking, okay, it's going to take me 10 videos to make. And then 10 became 20, 20 became 50, 50 became 60. And I just kept going because I decided, like, let me try and see how far I can go. And also, I needed to add value. And you cannot just answer one question, because people are asking questions all the time, and it's their absolute right to ask. Like, this is one way we learn. We ask questions, and we seek knowledge from whoever has it. This is existing in our Sunnah from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Alayhi salatu salam.
And I decided to do it in a way that adds value to people, even when I'm asleep. Now, even if I don't reply to you on my Instagram comment or private chat or whatever, there is a place where you can go and find the answer, where I explain it and I give you examples and so on. And it's also, like we all know, it's zakat al-ilm. I've been learning this for over 16, 17 years now. And for me to be hoarding onto this, it didn't feel right. It really didn't.
Yes.
And I started feeling guilty after a while. Like, I've mastered this thing and I'm reaping the fruits. I guess أقطف ثمار هذا العلم, and I'm making money every month, and I'm getting opportunities and chances in life because I've learned it. And I'm teaching 25 students every semester, 50 in a year. Maybe my impact should be like a little bit bigger than this.
More than that. Yes.
So more than that. So that's why I decided to put everything online and make it free for everybody to access whenever they like. So yes, that was the motivation.
How do they subscribe to the classes or the website? What do they do?
Okay, so here's the website. Thank you, Mr. Ali, for pulling this thing up. This is the front page. This is where you go, coursati.com. And I think Mr. Ali is going to put the link in the chat, maybe.
I'll put it in
on.
chat, yeah.
Yeah. But it's very easy to remember. It's coursati.com. It's just the logo there with a .com in front of it. So yeah, if you scroll down, Mr. Ali, you're going to see a button to enroll in the course where it says get free course now. Once you click on that, it will literally ask you for a first name, a second name, and an email address. And that's pretty much it. That's how you get 60 plus videos of pure advice on how you can improve.
Wait. Let me go back. Guys, look at the word free.
Free. That's the best. That's the best thing. Yeah. That's the best thing. Jazakallah khair for making it available for everybody for free. Inshallah. And may Allah reward you for this effort.
Thank you.
And it should be, inshallah, your sadaqah for the hereafter, inshallah.
Inshallah. There is more to come, by the way. There's another course. I'm going to be dropping another course very soon. So whoever is enrolled into this course, they're going to see an ad from me very soon by email, sent to the email that they've used to register for the first course to get the second course. It's also going to be.
Do you have one of the videos? Can you play one of the videos? So that we can show
our intro video here, or let me just.
This is an intro video, but there is more. Back in school, you spent about one. If you scroll down,
okay.
If you see views where it says view 65 video lessons, if you click on this one, it's going to take you to a page where you get to see some videos without needing to basically register. And if you scroll down until you see one of the videos that says preview, for example, if you click on that one, that's going to play without the need to register for the course. And on the left side, you will see the table of contents. You get to see all the different lessons you're going to get with the PDFs and so on. So this is one sample video that I
Can you play one of the videos?
Hello and welcome. In this part of the course, we're going to look at the words and phrases that each and every language learner should focus on in order to improve the way they communicate with others. Now, for years and years, one of the biggest mistakes I saw my students make when they realize that they need to improve their vocab is that they go out and grab a newspaper, for example, and they go over the words and the headlines and everything, and they try to highlight what they think is going to help them communicate. And they end up with a very, very long list of words that they never use. Others grab the biggest dictionary on the shelf, and they also go page by page to try and highlight the words they think are important. Others might grab a story, for example, and again, they do the same thing. Now, that might be a very, very good strategy for those whose vocab is already good. And so that was just one
MashaAllah.
video out of 60 plus. So, yeah,
MashaAllah. How long did it take you to build this platform, Ustad Muhammad?
not as long as you think it did. The building part, because I already teach the language, so I know what students need. So the thinking part and the preparation and the content, that didn't take me long.
Yes.
The editing part took a lot longer than I thought it would. So it's just the editing part, but shooting the videos took me, I think around, I think it was 3 months, because I wasn't very consistent. So I would shoot a video here, and then I would stop for a couple of days, and then I would shoot another video, and then a couple more days off.
And you do the whole thing.
So yeah,
Filming to editing and everything, huh?
no, actually, I did. This is one of the probably. I'm not sure if it's a mistake, but I did the shooting all at once. Like it took me, I think, 2.5, 3 months or something around that. And then I decided, okay, now it's time to edit those videos. And oh my
Oh no.
I was faced with a very, very big challenge with the editing. And so yeah, the editing took a longer time. And it was not the most motivating task, to be honest. Like, I struggled to do it. And now I realize why I struggled to do it. And I'm hoping, inshallah, I can improve and maybe speed up the process in the next upcoming.
Now you know why film editors are expensive.
I know. I'm ready to pay. I've been looking online for services that I can pay, websites that I can pay for people, freelancers, to edit those videos.
So freelancers, here we go. There's business for you guys.
I think it's worth it.
By the way, are these videos on YouTube as well, or only on this website?
Not yet. There is a reason why they're not on YouTube. I've decided not even on social media. I decided to just keep them strictly on this platform, on this website, at least at the beginning, to get people enrolled in the course. First, the website offers the features of for me as a teacher. To follow with your progress, so I can see how many videos you've completed, and I can send you messages. You can send me questions through the website. I can answer them. I can follow up with you all the time. It also produces a certificate towards the end. Once you finish watching all the videos, the website automatically sends to your email a certificate with your name saying that you have accomplished the course. But that's not the main reason. The main reason why those videos are not on social media yet or on YouTube is there is a lot of distraction. Like, what happens when you go on Instagram to watch something to learn from.
Yeah.
You watch one video, and then all of a sudden you realize that you've spent half an hour watching something totally different from what you came from. And it's the same thing it's the same with YouTube. So at least at the beginning, I said, let me direct them to a place where there are no distractions, so for them to be able to watch, follow, and progress in a way that they can see it.
I think it's a good idea, but maybe if there is a way to actually maybe create a short video and then you post it on YouTube to guide people to actually go to this website.
Good, yeah.
So that you can get the number. Because here, how do you normally advertise for this?
It was only done through my Instagram page. So that's how I did it. And I encourage people to share the link. And that's how I have more than almost 3,500 subscribers in the span of 1 month. So yeah, but definitely it's a very good idea. I'm going to take it into account, Mr. Ali, to put something on YouTube that,
I think it will be a good idea. But did you start this during the pandemic, or is it before that?
It was during the most difficult time when everybody was complaining.
So that's the purpose. Is that the purpose?
So yeah, it was another challenge. It was another challenge for me.
Okay.
I complain just like everybody else. I complain because of circumstances, because of situations, but I try to. I even try to teach this to my students all the time. I say, okay, I'm just like everybody else. I complain about certain things in life. However, I'm one of those people who decide to do something about it. So you will hear me complain. Don't worry. I'm not the most motivational
We're humans.
speaker.
We're humans.
So I'm just human, just like everybody else. However, what matters the most is that once you're done complaining, once you're done crying and
Move
doing
on.
everything, okay, what are you gonna do about it? So I did the complaint first when everybody switched online, but then I dropped 400 something riyals, and I decided to
And your office looks really nice.
Great.
Which is it green screen?
No, actually, it's a real shelf book, by the way.
I don't believe you until you touch a book, until you bring me a book from that shelf.
You would never see falling and books in a virtual backdrop.
So I think
I
Hatim,
have
this is one of those opportunities. See how you're using it instead of complaining about what happens. So this is one of those success stories. This is one of those success stories that I think people need to know.
I have a burning question. Sir
Hey,
Mohammed.
hold on.
في comments هناك.
Hold on.
Hatim's burning question.
This burning question.
Oh, my camera went off. Okay, here we go.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed, people learn languages for so many reasons, yeah? But you find a segment of young people now wanting to learn language because it's cool. And they don't want to learn English the proper way. They only want to have the English accent or the American accent. Would you like to have a cup of tea? So they think it's a cool thing to speak in a foreign accent. But if you ask them about grammar or how to construct, how to write something, they're lost. They just want to look cool in front of everybody.
Look cool, yes.
With an American,
using slangs.
I know.
Hey boy, get on your horse and drink your milk.
I know.
So,
Hello, Mike.
what do you think
Hello,
of
Mike.
that?
How's it going today? Any people from New Zealand here?
Hey.
So your question, Mr. Hatim, sorry, I missed.
What do you think of this phenomenon where people want to learn language just to show off?
I see it everywhere, not only in English, but also in people learning Turkish, for example, these days. People learning, I think it was a bunch of other languages that I noticed my students are mastering these days just because they want to watch shows and they want to tell their friends that, okay, I speak fluent Turkish now because I've watched 200 something episodes in whatever series.
Of Artogol.
Yeah. So looking cool is a phenomenon in language learning. In the way we dress, in the way we talk, in the way we sit, in which coffee shop we go to, it's huge. It's like it's engulfing everything. Like this ego-centric drive that we have for us, for people to see us as superior and able and capable and better than anybody else, I think it's the wrong motivation. I think we have a responsibility. Once you learn something, you have to share it. That's a huge responsibility. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm doing slightly more these days in language teaching. I even offer free courses for a month sometimes, just because I started to feel the responsibility. Yes, my English is not better than many other people that I heard speak the language, but I feel the responsibility. I said, like, come on, like you have to do something more than this. And for me to see young people learning the language because they want to communicate with others, playing video games on PlayStation or Xbox, it's a bit sad to see. It's the wrong motivation, and it's not going to last. Yes, you will master the language. And I've seen people master English just because they play video games and they communicate with native speakers all the time for 6-7 hours every single day. I've seen those kinds of students, but they're sad. They're very sad. Like, if you ask them to, okay, I want what you have. Like, can you teach me how you speak? They're going to say, no, I'm not a teacher, for example. They've lost the purpose of why they've learned the language in the first place. They've lost the purpose of unfortunately, what they should do with the language. And I think whatever your reason was, or start learning the language until you mastered it, until you got to a stage where you can communicate at a very, very professional and higher level. I think there should be a point in your life where you need to switch and say, okay, who else needs this, and who else can I help? And I think we have to make that conscious decision in our lives at one point, where we just add value to people and just say, Alhamdulillah, I have this now. Okay, how many others need it? Because you can never imagine how much people are going to be willing to pay you money for, just to have that. Because I know many people who come to me with comments saying, I've been at this position in my career for 6, 7, 8 years now, and the only thing stopping me from progressing to the next level is being able to communicate in English. Imagine what kind of service you're going to give to that person if you just decide to let go of your ego and just take this person, just one,
Yeah.
on a journey and to change his life. I'm not
Yes.
asking you to create courses with millions of videos, or asking you to go on social media and teach millions of people. I'm just asking for one person. Can you just help one person and see what kind of value you add, what kind of effect you have on this person's life? And this is when you realize that you're doing it for the first time, maybe in your life. You're doing it for the right reason. I
You
encourage
just reminded me. You just reminded me of a movie called Pay It Forward. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've
you
seen
do
it.
something good. Somebody helps you. Like, for example, maybe let's say you're students from the website. They learn English. Go and teach it to one person, and
Yes.
tell that person to teach it to another person. So just pay it forward. And I think
it
that's one
forward,
of the
yes.
best ways of charity. Just one person, but it's going to make a big impact.
Yes,
بإذن
I
الله
think
تعالى. لا.
everything we do has to have a purpose in life, and I think language is just one example.
Having said
I
that,
think-
did you get any
Yes.
feedback from people who used Corsati?
Yes, but I don't want to brag about it.
I think
So-
I think let us say not call it brag
Yeah.
it, but people want to know the result of something. It's a good
Yeah.
initiative that you're doing.
Yeah.
Let us call it success stories.
Success
So, yeah.
stories is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think one of the biggest comments I got on the website and also on social media was, people were shocked that this was actually offered for free. Seeing the amount of work, I think maybe the community is not used to that. Even though we have, mashallah, we have you guys, we have people on YouTube offering for free, not even traveling the country and adding value to people across the border for free. They've done this for their entire lives, but they're not used to seeing videos maybe in this format. But I had people coming to me thanking me for this, and telling me how it's its potential, telling me about its potential of changing the way they view the language and the way they master it. And now it's been done in a way that is available for them, and it's theirs for the rest of their lives. It's there on the website. They can access it, and they can, whenever they want. They don't have to be in a class with me, and they get to watch it whenever they want. And I received many comments about, also questions actually, about why I was doing it. And I've shared this a very similar answer to what I've shared on the show today. I wanted to add an impact. I wanted to have that impact on people's lives. And it's also zakah. I wanted to have something for people. So at least one day when I stand in front of Allah, I can say, okay, I've learned the language. Yes, thank you so much for blessing me with the talent and the opportunity to learn this language. And this is the way I pay back that debt and that blessing. So inshallah.
جزاك الله خير.
But this is not the entire thing, because some people are asking, for example, why is it in English? Because some people saw that the language level was a bit higher than their level, so they struggled
Okay.
to follow with me. And that's why I worked even extra hard to put these subtitles under in every single video throughout the entire course, and that took me a long time. And even with that, people are still finding it sometimes a bit difficult to follow. And I promised them that my next course is going to be subtitled in Arabic, so to give them a better chance of following. So those are some of the comments I've been getting.
There is a website I'm using, Ustad Muhammad, that does all the subtitles for you, translate. So you just plug in the video and it does all the work for you. Inshallah,
Nice,
it will
nice.
help you in that. Yeah.
How accurate is that? Is it like at least 80-90%?
85% accurate.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
And you can
looked
choose any
online.
language. Yeah.
I looked online and I found a couple actually.
Yeah,
I think
it will make your life so easy.
Is it
Since
Rev?
I started using it, man, it's been like in 2 minutes the video is done.
Yeah. Is it
Hatim, I'm
Rev?
gonna let you.
Yeah.
Was
Is it
that?
Rev? Is it REV, the one? Because I know they offer, one of the websites offers two services. Yeah. One is human.
Yeah,
subtitling, and
no,
the
it's
other
called
one,
I think it's called Capwing. I think Capwing. But it's very fast, and then it allows you to edit. So if you see a translation, maybe you didn't like the wording, you can do the edit, and you can even do proper editing like sound, the voice, the background. You can add images. You can do all sorts of crazy things with this website.
So
But
Hatim,
it's very, very handy.
Hatim, if I scratch my head, is it gonna put between brackets Ali scratching his head, or it doesn't do that? No.
Well, I don't know, man. You'll have to try.
pay extra. Pay extra. Maybe.
Anyways, I
also
think-
students of Imam say, what about auto subtitle? That's okay on YouTube, but not on the website that Muhammad is using. So yeah.
Yes. Anyways, I think we're running out of time, but we want Ustad Muhammad to give the last advice to students or anyone who wants to learn a foreign language like English. What is your final advice? Especially in the Arab world, a lot of Arab students want to learn or have the command of the English language. So you as a English language instructor, what is your last advice for them?
Okay, I would say social media. Cut down on social media. So anything you're watching on
No.
TikTok, I know.
What
Anything-
about YouTube? Chat away every
YouTube,
Saturday,
yeah.
8:30 p.m.
I wouldn't call YouTube social media because it's not as addictive as the other. The whole thing, my entire advice, I think, can be summarized in one word, which is exposure. You try to expose yourself to the language as much as possible. And for this to work in your favor, you're going to need both time and you're going to need very good resources. Time, my advice for my students most of the times is to use passive time. When you're driving to work and back from work, those are a minimum of 40 minutes every single day. Those can be used to learn the language, to listen to a podcast in English. And I would say, please avoid channels or podcasts that talk about language learning, that talk about grammar, for example, and focus mainly on something that is really fun. If you want to watch stand-up comedy, if there's a show that you would like to watch, like a YouTube channel that you really like its content, for example, Mr. Ali's Ummati's channel, for example. Watching this episode, for example, on your way to work, Ummati, for example, this is a 1 hour and a half show. Watching this to work and back from work, this is going to take you, what is it, like 90 minutes? So it might take you 2
By the way, it was between 40 to 60 minutes. We just exceeded today because it's an interesting episode.
Wow. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you so much. But it's going to take you 2 days, 2 trips to work. But you're gonna learn from this channel. You're going to improve your English in a way that you don't if you just watch something about learning the language, something about grammar, for example, explaining, okay, here's where you put ing and here's no, just watch and listen. Why am my advice is always like this for my students is because you're going to be drawn to the content and to the ideas you're going to find those fun, and this is going to push you to keep listening and to keep watching. And what's going to happen now, you are recreating the childhood scenario by watching YouTube. You're listening and listening for hours and hours and hours, and something is going to happen. Something is going to happen along the way when you will feel like your English will improve. Just like a child at the age of 4, you will start saying things that you didn't even imagine yourself saying. And I know this for a fact because I saw how my English exploded at a certain stage just because I was watching, not even using the language, not even saying things, because I didn't have many people to practice the language with. But I was just listening and absorbing everything. And make sure it's fun. Make sure it's fun because it's going to put you... Yeah. Make sure, because it's going to put you to stay longer with the language. And my second advice would be, if you don't have money for YouTube, if you don't have money for data, or if you're afraid that the police is going to pull you over for watching YouTube videos on the road, then my second advice would be reading books. And again, please avoid reading novels that are 400 pages that you probably never benefit from. I have a stack of them here, and I have never read them, and I will never read them. I know, what is that? That doesn't look like a novel. I know, but choose something motivational. Again, to keep you reading for, like, if you pick up a book like about how to design smart goals, for example, or how to overcome negativity, or how to have like positivity, or something positive, that once you read the first page, you're going to be like, okay, I think I can go on for one more page. I think I can go, and before you know it, you've finished the book. And something that is going to help you in your life, and at the same time, it's helping you take your English to the next level. Something, I know, not that one, not that one. So, what is this?
That was written by Ali, by the way.
Okay, so please don't tell me it's a novel. So,
yeah,
no?
it is. Harry Potter stuff.
Harry Potter.
That's why nobody's Ali. That's why nobody's buying your book.
No, but maybe that will come in later. But yeah, I think you need to choose what you read because you need that motivation. Language learning as a subject, it's not fun. If you try and do, okay, what are the grammar rules that I need to learn? What are the words that I need to memorize? Trust me, you're going to kill your motivation within the 2 days maximum. Choose something fun. So yeah, J.K. Rowling.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair, Ustad Muhammad. Thank you very much for today's show. We all, for sure, enjoyed and learned a lot. And I hope people go to your website and learn something about language learning. Bi'idhnillah ta'ala, and may Allah reward you for this effort. Before we go, the three of us need to say a sentence in a foreign language, which is not English and not Arabic. Anything.
¿Dónde has estado estos días? ¿Dónde has estado estos días, señor Hatim?
Sí.
Okay, Ustad Muhammad. Ano ang pangalan mo? Napakaganda mo.
Tagalog.
Is that Tagalog or something?
That's Tagalog, yes.
Okay.
Anyway, you're thinking of what I said?
Maybe, I don't know. Did I hear that somewhere? No, I don't think so.
No, I think he's listing. He's trying to think of all the languages that he speaks and to pick up which language should I use. Right, Mohammed?
Okay. Let me think. I would say سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله.
ما شاء الله.
That's the best answer.
Shukran jazeelan. Thank you very much, Ustad Muhammad, and hope to see you soon. Don't forget to hook us up with your friend who speaks 10 languages so that we can interview him next week. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Take care and be safe.
Allah يعطيكم العافية. Thank you so much.
Allah يعافيكم. Thank you.
جزاك الله خير.
Señor. Mashallah. So maybe I should interview you, man. How many languages you speak?
I speak 6 languages, 3 fluently and 3 50-50,
50-50.
30-40. Yeah.
Mashallah, mashallah. Let's keep it a secret for now, not to share. Maybe next time when we interview you.
Next time, inshallah.
Just pick up a few comments before we do that. Okay, now Kiwi Muslim, do not unsubscribe. Please do actually subscribe and hit that indication button so you can get all the notifications from Ummati station, and this applies to everybody there. Everybody, okay. Well, we don't want to miss our viewers. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum assalam. Alaikum assalam.
And from Ahmed Al-Matani said, I'm glad that I didn't have to go through the struggle of speaking languages.
Alhamdulillah. You're among the blessed ones.
Alhamdulillah. I think what we learned from this episode today, and I don't want to take much time because we already exceeded half an hour, is are two things. Is you can learn as many languages as you can, but don't limit yourself to only learning the language, but also how you can teach others. And I'm not talking just about language. Anything that you know, don't keep it for yourself. Try to share it with others. So
one of the things I want to share, Ali, before we go, is that hard work pays. A lot of students are struggling with the language, but they tend to forget that working hard will pay, and you will reap the fruits. When I was a student in year 2000 in Malaysia, we had students coming from all the way from China. They couldn't speak a single word of English. And at the end of the 4 years degree program, they were the top students in the university.
Mashallah.
So if they can make it and learn a foreign language, I think our students who went through 12 years of learning English can also make it.
Definitely.
Salam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.